Hare Krishna. Welcome to our channel, Bhagavad-gita. Here it is. Because we have Bhagavad-gita as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And my name is Labanga Latika. We are reading from the 13th chapter, Nature, the Enjoyer and Consciousness, which gives us a well-rounded understanding of the world around us and of us in that world. So today we're reading Bhagavad-gita, we're in the 13th chapter and we are reading text 17.
Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalang.
Yes, I will read the Sanskrit because I'm actually very happy that we have the Sanskrit. It gives us, I don't know how it works really because I'm not a scholar, I haven't studied it so, but just by coming across these terms over and over, the understanding becomes a little deeper than just having the translation. At least that's what I find. So I will keep reading the Sanskrit and I hope you enjoy it too. Avibhaktang cha bhuteshu vibhaktam eva cha sthitam bhuta bhatrir cha tajgyeyang grasishnu prabhavishnu cha. Although the Supersoul appears to be divided among all beings, he is never divided. He is situated as one. Although he is the maintainer of every living entity, it is to be understood that he devours and develops all. Yes, we're hearing about Supersoul. I think Supersoul is that mystical aspect of the Supreme that we sometimes find it a little hard to grasp. God, we are familiar with an idea that there is a God, and Brahman, that everything is a spiritual energy. That idea is kind of pervasive in society to an extent, even if it's not fully understood. It's also not fully unfamiliar. But Supersoul, Paramatma, how Krishna manifests in everyone's heart, but in a localized aspect, which means it's different than when Krishna comes to Vrindavan and, plays with the cows and goes out with the cowherd boys and having a lot of fun. But at the same time, it's not that it's just his job and he has to sit in our heart and he has no choice. He has that choice. He comes there to facilitate for us to exist in this world, because without his presence it wouldn't work at all. But still he's one. He's one personality, but he's manifests in everyone's heart. And then we're wondering, how does that work? And then we take material examples, and they will never be exactly the same, but they can give us an understanding that even a material object, like we take the sun, because if I'm in Sweden and someone else is in Hawaii, which I think is exactly on the opposite side of the globe, more or less. So when I see the sun, then it's night there. We don't see the sun at the same time. But mostly I can call a friend, in, within 12 hours difference, and I can look up and I say, the sun is above my head, and that person will say, the sun is also above my head. But it's the same sun. It's not that I have one sun and you have one sun. They also sometimes give the example that if, again with the sun or the moon, there's one moon in the sky, and then if I have pots of water, buckets of water, I have a whole room, no, not a room, I have a whole area full of buckets of water, and the moon reflects in each one of them. So it looks like very many moons, but it's actually just one moon reflecting individually. So that's not exactly how Supersoul works, but it's just a way of understanding. It's one Supersoul. He's not divided. He's always the same, but he's in everyone's heart. So it's mystical. But in a way, we are also spiritual. We don't actually ever leave the spiritual existence, but right now we manifest in this body. So we think we are just here. But it's just like, it's like if we are all in separate rooms, if we're in one of those like old-fashioned castle buildings that have the inner yard, So we are all in one room and we're looking out the window, but we're all seeing the same person who's standing on that inner yard. But maybe we don't see each other, but we see that one person. So Supersoul, he's situated in such a way that he can see us individually, he can follow us individually in this world and in every universe in this material world, and he remains the same. And he's still there in our heart. So purport, the Lord is situated in everyone's heart as the Supersoul. Does this mean that he has become divided? No, actually he is one. The example is given of the sun. The sun at the meridian is situated in its place. But if one goes for 5,000 miles in all directions and asks, where is the sun? Everyone will say that it is shining on his head. In the Vedic literature, this example is given to show that although he is undivided, he is situated as if divided. Also, it is said in Vedic literature that one Vishnu is present everywhere by his omnipotence, just as the sun appears in many places to many persons. And the Supreme Lord, although the maintainer of every living entity, devours everything at the time of annihilation. This is confirmed in the 11th chapter when the Lord said that he had come to devour all the warriors assembled at Kurukshetra. He also mentioned that in the form of time he devours also. He is the annihilator, the killer of all. When there is creation, he develops all from their original state. And at the time of annihilation, he devours them. The Vedic hymns confirm the fact that he is the origin of all living entities and the rest of all. After creation, everything rests in his omnipotence, and after annihilation, everything again returns to rest in him. These are the confirmations of Vedic hymns. Yatova imani bhutani jayante yena jatani jivanti yat prayantya bhisham vishanti tad brahma tad vigyasasva. Yeah, I did not get the meter there, but I got the words. So yes, this is our Krishna. And one thing this means is that when we hear about Krishna, we have to understand that our vision is limited, our experience is limited, our capacity to understand is limited, but Krishna is not limited. So we take these examples to kind of give us an idea. It's just that I have never seen this in actuality, but I've heard this story, like when there is a little child and the first time they see the moon, and the parent is saying, oh, look at the window, the moon is there, and the child doesn't know what is the moon. So where is the moon? So do you see that tree? Yes. So you follow that tree up the branches. There, do you see the moon? Oh yes. The tree has nothing to do with the moon. The tree doesn't prove the moon. Sometimes we have these examples. They are not proving anything, but they are helping us to understand things a little better, a little more in according with our ability. So Krishna is interesting. When we hear about, we spoke about this the other day, when we have creation in this world, I actually love the story of creation from the Bhagavatam. Mahavishnu, Karanodakashayi Vishnu, he lies down in the causal ocean and he enters into his yoga nidram, his mystical slumber. And every time he breathes out, all the universes emanate from his pores. And then every time he breathes in, he again absorbs all the universes into himself. So that is the space of the time for the creation, one breath of Mahavishnu. Of course, in this universe, that time is 100 years of Brahma. And Brahma's time is such that his day and night is like 8 million years, something like that. I could go into detail, but I've done it before, and I realize that I find it very fascinating. Maybe not everybody finds it as fascinating. But we have different perspective on existence. But the one thing we hear here is that everything rests on Krishna. While it's created in this world, he's maintaining, he's upholding the existence of these worlds. And he's upholding our existence by as Paramatma, Supersoul, is the maintainer sustainer and the permitter. So he, witness and permitter. He's there, he sees what goes on, he also enables it. And everything. Why is God enabling all the bad things in this world? Because basically in this world everything is bad. We come here because we don't want to be in that spiritual place with that harmony of loving devotion to God, of that sense of that dynamic relationship where we all have an individual relationship to God, but where there will be no disharmony, where there will be no clashes. We're all different, we're individuals, we have different ways of expressing our love to Krishna and relating to him, and also relating to each other. But there will never be a clash, because there is no, how to say, there is no separate interest, because it's all based on that love for Krishna in that loving, harmonious way, which isn't... Sometimes we have this picture, and I don't know where it comes from. I haven't read the full Bible, but I've read it here and there. And I've never seen a description of heaven being a place where the angels are sitting around on clouds playing harp. But somehow that is the concept we have of the Christian heaven, and it sounds extremely boring. I don't think that is how it actually looks, but that is the idea. But the spiritual world is never boring, because that dynamic relationship is full of activities and exchanges, and it just grows. So, but we have come here because we didn't want to be there. And this world, everything is upheld by Krishna's energies, because this world is his energies, and it doesn't move on its own. It doesn't exist on its own. It doesn't automatically develop out of, anything. Krishna has put it here because we wanted to go somewhere else. So he has given, this is somewhere else. Now we are somewhere else. And we have so many bodies, Krishna is permitting them, with different levels of consciousness, different ideas, different times, life forms. So much diversity, so much ability to try and enjoy diverse aspects of this world. But it is all being upheld by Krishna while it's active. And then when it's not active, the Bhagavatam describes this, the creation happens by the breathing out of Mahavishnu. Then Lord Brahma takes birth in the universe. He puts together all the life forms, all the planets, all the basis for life in this world. Then Vishnu glances over the living entities, and then the souls are transferred there. And we can live here, in those bodies, in those lives, on those planets, life after life. But every time Brahma's day is over and Brahma takes rest, there is a partial dissolution. And at the end of his life, after his 100 years, and after Mahavishnu's one breath, all of this is again pulled back into Mahavishnu's body. And therefore it says, while the creation is active, everything rests on Krishna's energies, and while it's inactive, it rests within the body of Mahavishnu. So we are always inside the influence of Krishna. We are never outside of it. And at the same time, Krishna is in our hearts, in the form of Supersoul. So we approach the subject of the Supreme Absolute Truth, Krishna, from different angles, and sometimes we look at Krishna as that person who has a loving relationship with Mother Yashoda, who has a loving relationship with his friends when they go out and herd the cows, who is so charming and so sweet and so attractive, because he is a person, and our natural state is to be in a personal relationship for him. But it's also very healthy to remember that he is God, and how he is God, and how he's holding everything together. So we get both. We get everything from the Bhagavad-gita, and maybe especially in this chapter. Thank you so much. We will continue next time, and I hope you will come with us. And in the meanwhile, I actually hope you have your own copy of Bhagavad-gita, because I read it and I go through it and we discuss it a little bit. But it's really helpful to have a Bhagavad-gita to sit down and absorb yourself in it a little bit on your own in between. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for watching. We aim for updates every Tuesday and Friday. Please come back. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down there. We also have some links and information for you. And there is, of course, the subscribe button. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
I'm a Hare Krishna, and I approve this message. Subscribe.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.